What's up? It's Warren with Scale Audio, and today we're going to make a Drake beat in 4 segments so that you can be a pro and take these steps anywhere that you want. Drake uses a lot of different styles, however, he has some signature sounds, and he also has a few constants in his music, and if we stick to those things, then we can consistently get the result that we want. Please smash that like button and subscribe, and let's check it out. First thing is we're going to set the BPM to 160 or 80. Most of his songs seem to be between 150 and 180. That's like 75 and 90. And if anybody's confused, if you just take a BPM and cut it in half, it's going to be in the same timing. It's just either double time or half time, whatever. Without getting complicated, let's check it out. So first things first, we're going to craft our own Drake style sample. The keys that we're going to play are going to be in D Dorian before you run away. It's really simple, all the white keys starting at D. This mode gives a sad sound with like a profound hint of peace. And if you notice, Drake always has those emotional, feely songs that have some happiness to them, but it's generally a darker R&B kind of undertone. So there's 3 types of chords we're going to use. The first is going to be a 9th chord. It's called a 9th chord because remember that our keys were right. And now if we take a look at that, that's 1. Then we play our 3rd one, our 5th one. It's a basic triad. And then we're going to add our 7th. That's a 7th chord, and our 9th. So, and now that you saw me count to 7, we're also going to do 7th chords. These chords are simpler chords that are often used in R&B. Something else that is very constant that we'll hear is what's called a 6th. A 6th is going to be a 7th, except for you take the 7 and just move it to the 6. Okay, so if we use these, so just with that, you should be getting a kind of Drake feeling coming on there. Our first chord's the 9. Because we added that 9th on the top. So 9, 7, because I added a 7. This next one's going to be a 7 as well, because we're just adding it up to the 7. And then this next one here is going to come down from a 7 at the F6. This would, a 7th would be like this. But we're going to do a 6th instead. It gives it this kind of suspense and this kind of uplifting feeling without being bright. That's going to lead right back into our root at the beginning. So if you use these 3 types of chords, you should be able to come up with some pretty interesting stuff. Okay, and then we're going to drop that down. Now, for my FL Studio people, a trick that I like to do to make it feel wider, we're going to do Alt-R. Let's Control-A, select everything, then Alt-R. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make sure all the knobs are turned down, but I'm going to turn my pan knob up, which is going to make random pannings to the different notes and different keys. And it's going to put it in different places around my head, and it's going to kind of swell and feel bigger. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a vocal sample. So I'm gonna just start trying to make it spacey and play with some effects. I'm gonna actually soften the velocity on this piano because it actually makes a difference for the overall sound. It becomes less tangy. And then I'll just turn the piano up. And then we have to Alt-R, randomize. Okay, so I've cut some high end and low end off our little whistle, which makes it feel more distant, because higher end frequencies, when you start cutting them out, it actually makes something feel farther away, whereas you add more and more detail, it feels closer. Difference. Our vocal, I pretty much did the same as the whistle, except for then afterwards I really harshened it up, which introduced more high end, and so I cut that away a second time. Okay, next we're going to add a smooth little bass to the sample. Cool, so we got some bass to it. Now, time to add some accents. Okay, next step in building the sample is we're going to add a thicker backing. Take all the main chords. Once the instrumentation is just about done, we're going to want to mix it, because after we export it, we're not going to be able to change anything afterwards. To do this, just make your volumes sit about right, do some panning, and any little effects that you might want to add, and then we'll call it good. And that's about that for the sample. So now that we have the sample, we're going to export it to save space, and also to give it that Drake downsample underwater feeling. I'm going to go to my master here. I'm going to click the arm button. We are going to click the buttons Alt and R. All right, and that was half the battle. So we're going to open up Edison. We're going to take our sample, drag it in, then we got these two little paper button things right about here. Click it and click Edit Properties. You're going to see a sample rate section, and this is the key. Drake always ends up doling the high end so that his voice sits there and nothing else really sits there for the most besides the drums. So we're going to downsample it. We'll go to the lowest, 8,000. You can type in your own amount, but we're going to do 8. And now listen to the difference. Before. After. And that is what we want, so we'll drag it back into our main sample. All right, so now that we have the samples, it's the drums. So Drake always seems to use very thick and choppy drums, so that's what we're going to go for. We're going to make sure that things have quick attacks. We're going to make them hold and then just let go. So first thing we're going to do is add a snare. I could be crazy, but I've noticed a lot of Drake snares seem to be panned slightly to the left. That makes sense with the way that he makes his instrumentals, create a space for his voice, and the voice is always dead center. So just a small pan to the left might make sense. Okay, we're going to find kind of a thicker hat, And we're just gonna add accents for right now. Okay, we'll add some quicker hats. Shift R to get us started with some rolls. Just find some creativity, and then we're gonna do Alt U. We're also gonna randomize velocities and the pitches a little bit. Okay, and now we're gonna add some 808s. Now we're gonna wanna add a thick kick with some good mid information. So I'm gonna add a little bit of a trap snare, and that's gonna be about it for the drums. All right, drums are done. Bus them, thicken them, excite them, and we should be just about home free. Next thing's next, structure it. And the only thing I have for you for that is to put the hook first because it's just a good idea. To summarize, you're going to want to be about 160 BPM. 150 to 180 is really about the range I've noticed where most of his music sits. You're going to want to create your own sample in D Dorian and make it nice and wide. You want really thick, choppy drums, and you want to put the hook first. And using this method should help you get consistent results. I actually made another instrumental I'll show you that I like better that is the same formula, and we're still getting that kind of Drake feel out of it. So I hope that helps. Go try this on your own and let me know how it works. If you liked, please like. If you have a comment, please comment. I always appreciate a subscribe. This is Warren with Scale Audio, and adios.